Kathleen Cagney, Director, the University of Michigan Institute for Social Research. BBVA Foundation Frontiers of Knowledge Award in Social Sciences. How would you define the importance of empirically grounded, data-based social science in the contemporary world and its fundamental role to understanding today's societies?
Empirically grounded, data-driven social science depends, of course, on sound data collection processes, including surveys, administrative data, experiments, qualitative and mixed methods to observe our larger society. ISR produces reliable and representative results based on our methodological expertise. High-quality data collection is essential to producing the social facts that inform both personal and policy decision-making. Long-running surveys at ISR, including the Health and Retirement Study, the American National Election Studies, and the Panel Study of Income Dynamics, track trends over time to understand these broader social issues. Longitudinal studies can show, for instance, how early life conditions shape later life outcomes. As our colleague Bob Gross has noted, a brilliant feature of ISR was the insight that it needed to build an infrastructure to survey, experiment, and conduct other observational measurements within the organization. From the beginning, our researchers built a national sample of areas, a national core of face-to-face interviewers who visited sample households to administer their interviews. That national field force was a fixed cost of social science research and surveys. Few organizations made that kind of investment. It's unlikely that any university would have funded that investment by themselves, and unlikely any university would now. If permitted, however, ISR became the choice of empirical social scientists, not just at Michigan, but throughout the world. It was a place to have their data collection done for their own project and contribute to other science, and that allowed the amortization of the huge costs of building that infrastructure.
What have been the central contributions of the ISR to the objective measurement of public opinion and social life?
Well, I actually have quite a list. ISR has a rich history of contributions to social research and the measurement of public opinion. Notably, ISR founding director Francis Likert developed the Likert scale, the most widely used measurement of attitudes and opinions in academic, government, and private sector research today. The surveys of consumers, developed by George Katona at ISR in 1946, examines consumer attitudes and expectations about the U.S. economy. By providing a gauge of consumer reactions to changes in the economic environment, the surveys help shape public policy and business decisions, and the monthly surveys index of consumer expectations is an official component of the U.S. Index of Leading Economic Indicators. ISR also pioneered survey sampling theories and methods that resulted in the only correct prediction of the 1948 U.S. presidential election, that was Truman, and that still form the basis of scientifically valid surveys, market research, and public opinion polling. This work continues today with the American National Election Studies. ISR fielded the 1954 double-blind experimental trials for the Salk polio vaccine on a national sample of U.S. school children, revealing that vaccines were both safe and effective in ending the polio epidemic. ICPSR collects, curates, preserves, and disseminates social science data and provides training through the summer program in quantitative methods of social research, which trains over 800 academics a year. It is the world's largest archive of digital social science data, currently with more than 1 million research data files. ICPSR is a leader in data access and stewardship issues for the larger academic community. ISR started the field of organizational behavior, developing T groups and sensitivity training. Robert Kahn and Daniel Katz's pioneering book, The Social Psychology of Organizations, influenced the field of organizational research by applying a framework of open systems theory, the assumption that an organization continuously interacts with its environment to research on leadership, role behavior, and organizational effectiveness. The Panel Study of Income Dynamics, which I mentioned earlier, has followed American families for more than 50 years, looking at employment, retirement, income, expenditures, wealth, pensions, health, insurance, marriage and childbearing, mental health, and philanthropy. Among its accomplishments, the study has led to key intergenerational analyses and a more nuanced understanding of the dynamics of poverty. ISR discovered through the PSID the high turnover in the poverty population, countering widespread misconceptions that the same people remain mired in a culture of poverty year after year. Researchers at ISR continue to expand our understanding of the world around us by asking novel and important questions about people, their communities and neighborhoods, and society at large.
What are the main methodological challenges for the design of public opinion studies today, and how have they been tackled by the ISR?
ISR is, of course, concerned with response rates and maintaining representativeness in our samples, so design is critical. The science of surveys has always been paramount at ISR, and we continue to innovate around instrument construction, sampling, and survey mode. Early in ISR's history, Leslie Kish's development of probability sampling and the Kish grid for selecting respondents within households helped establish rigorous standards for producing representative survey data. But I'll share that, as Bob Kahn predicted, some of the societal norms that made Americans comfortable sharing the details of their lives with a stranger, and by that I mean an interviewer, have indeed decayed. And through that decay, the statistical theories underlying inference to large populations from small samples are threatened. Underlying inference from sample survey results to important populations of interest is, again, threatened by the failure to completely measure the chosen sample. The cost of measuring the human experience has risen to such an extent that federal surveys are being dropped or being scaled back in their sample sizes. ISR scholars, including Bob Groves and colleagues, advance the total survey error framework as a way to understand different sources of survey error and make informed trade-offs between data quality and cost. Many researchers believe that the future is a blending of multiple data sets, each of which is fallible in its own way, into a coordinated system of records. The use of statistical models to draw inference will be, the practice of the day. To that end, Brady West, a colleague at ISR, and others have deepened our understanding of non-response bias and its implications for survey accuracy. ISR is also contributing the future of public opinion research through work on online panel recruitment and retention, including emerging efforts from the Survey Research Center at ISR to establish a national representative survey panel.
Looking toward the future, how does the ISR aim to continue strengthening the empirical robustness of social scientific research in the service of the public interest?
ISR is currently building an integrated social science data ecosystem that combines and captures the strengths of different kinds of data and measurement. This includes design data collection in the Bob Groves terminology, which incorporates surveys, but also new ways of measurement, devices, ecological momentary assessments, so short bursts of questions on your phone that are meant to capture in-the-moment experiences, and biomeasures and biomarkers, with, again, naturally occurring data, organic data, and by that I mean administrative data, transaction data, or other data thrown off by social and economic processes that we can actually use now for research. The potential rests in linking all these data together to create new resources to examine population processes. As this new data ecosystem evolves, maintaining the traditions of equitable access, transparency, replicability, that are of course necessary for science to thrive, is essential. ICPSR has been an important champion of these values historically, but there will be new challenges as the social science data ecosystem emerges. These sorts of opportunities, I might describe them as, mean that we can step up and think about data confidentiality and safety. These new challenges flow from not just the new kinds of data, but the new tools that people will use to analyze and manipulate data, including AI. And we indeed see this as a potential opportunity for ISR to contribute. The use of AI in both data collection and analysis is currently an area of emphasis at ISR.